Your state of being doesn't happen in the mind. That's a state of mind. It's not a state of being. It's literally in the name. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're completely new here. My name is Lorena. I am a self-concept coach, and I support women to shift their identity, shift their self-concept, step into their future self so they can embody their highest potential and align with their most authentic soul desires and really manifest anything that you truly desire in your life. If you end up liking this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really supports this channel to grow, my work to reach more people and support more people. And I also invite you to check out the free resources that are linked in the description below. You will find a free guidebook there, free masterclasses, and something new that I have just published this week, which may only be available for a limited amount of time, and that is a free quiz that will show you what your next step on your self-concept and manifestation journey is based on where you are at in this moment in time. So check that out as well. It also includes a personalized free practice for you to dive into. So today's topic is one that I don't really see talked about very much in the manifestation space, or at least not enough, and that is about the role of your body in the manifestation process. A lot of manifestation teachings are very mind-based. It's how you can change your thoughts and your beliefs, and that is often restricted to your mindset. And that makes sense because it is a lot easier to start with your thoughts because you're a lot more conscious of the thoughts that you have coming in. And even if you are not that conscious of the thoughts that are coming in each moment, you can become conscious of them very easily. The problem with this approach, however, is when you start with your thoughts and you start with your mind, it might be easy to become aware of things, but it is actually a lot harder to change things in the long run because it requires a lot of effort to constantly manage your thoughts, to constantly keep track of what beliefs and assumptions you're having. And whilst that is also an important part of the manifestation process of your self-concept journey, because your self-concept is how you see yourself, how you perceive yourself, and the state you operate from, it's the beliefs you have about yourself. So it can come across as something that is very thought-based, but your thoughts and your mindset are actually only a small part of it. So I want to share with you today why the body plays such an important role in your manifestation process, in your self-concept transformation, and how you can actually use it to your advantage rather than have to rely on your mind and your brain and maybe micromanage your thoughts or constantly say affirmations. I can only speak for myself, and I can speak for the clients who come into my world. I tried the affirmations and the mindset only approach, and it's exhausting. So what I'm sharing with you today, the approach that I'm sharing with you, is a lot more efficient and it's a lot more sustainable in my experience and in what I've seen with all the clients I've worked with. The changes are so much more deeply integrated in your system, and you have to try a lot less to actually make things happen. So to start out with, I want to first dive into what manifestation even is. Because given that you're here watching this video, either you have been following my content for a while, or maybe you're completely new here, but you're likely interested in manifestation, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on this video, right? But how often do we think about what that even means? And the way I define it is that manifestation is simply the formless, the intangible, brought into form, brought into the tangible. So we can think about this in terms of things that we're consciously manifesting. I have a desire, and so I am working on making that happen, making that manifest into my physical reality. But it's also referring to unconscious things or collective things. So for example, when you have a disease that manifests in your body, that's not something that is consciously based on desire, clearly, but that is also a manifestation of something that once was formless, because everything that we see in this physical reality was once formless. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it does change form. And this is what we're seeing here. Everything that we're seeing in this physical reality once had a different form or not any form at all. It was made manifest, in other words. Now, this as background information is really important because it shows you how important your physical reality actually is for the manifestation process. There are a lot of people who will tell you to just ignore the physical reality and who will tell you to ignore 3D circumstances, which is terminology that I don't even use. But I really want to bring it home how important this physical reality is. The only reason you have desires is because you live in a physical material reality and because you have a physical body through which you experience these desires. Your physical body is part of physical reality. When you hear in spiritual teachings that you are not your body and you are not your ego, yes, that's true, but also your body is the vessel through which you even experience things. Without a physical body, you would have zero experience, you would have zero sensation, you wouldn't feel the emotions that you are striving to feel, you wouldn't be able to touch things, you wouldn't have your 5 senses. Your body and the sensations that come with it are the reason you have desires in the first place. And it is also the way you get to experience those desires as physical manifestations. In the manifestation community, there are 2 ways in which the body is often seen. Firstly, the body is often neglected in the manifestation community. So it might be we only focus on the mind and we focus on our thoughts and our mindset because our thoughts create our reality, or imagination creates reality and we imagine through the mind, which is actually something I also disagree with, but that's a different topic. I'll link a video about that below. But because there's this idea that thoughts are what create the feelings in our body anyway, and because imagination creates reality and we imagine with our mind, there is this idea that the body doesn't really need to be incorporated. It's secondary, right? It comes after the thought, after the belief, after the assumption. That's how it's often seen. The second thing is sometimes the body is even seen as a problem. Sometimes it's seen as a barrier, right? We have these thoughts that we want to make manifest, essentially. We have these new beliefs that we wish to operate from, and we come up against our body because our body might be feeling anxiety, or we might be in a state of fear or anger or resentment. And that feels like it prevents us from actually feeling the truth of that thought that we wish to have or believe. So the body can be seen as a problem. It can also be seen as a problem when health issues occur. I mentioned disease earlier. Or when we feel discomfort, uncomfortable emotions in our body. It is seen as something that we kind of want to bypass because that's where all the uncomfortable stuff happens. So let's focus on changing our mind so we can change our body. Now, I find both of these perspectives a bit dismissive, and it makes things a lot more difficult for you because, as I said previously, your body is how you experience things. You need it. You need it to even experience your desires. So we want to work with it rather than against it, or rather than neglecting it. Every feeling you're desiring, you feel it as a sensation in your body. And some people think that our feelings are created in the brain. I personally don't believe that our brain is the only part. Clearly, our brain and our thoughts play a significant role, but I don't think it's the only part. Because the nervous system is a lot more complex than just the brain. It's the most elaborate, complicated thing or organism that we even have really in the universe in a biological sense. And we actually don't really understand a lot of what happens in it. And it goes all the way down, right? It's not just, a lot of it is happening in your brain, and a lot of it is also happening in your spine. And it impacts your entire body. So the nervous system is a whole different and more specific topic, which I can create an entire different video on, because that would go too deep now. Let me know in the comments if you would like a video on the nervous system's role specifically in the manifestation process, or in your process of reprogramming your subconscious and shifting your belief systems. But I want to contain this video to the role of the body as a whole and sort of the question of body versus mind, because it's fact that our body and our mind are not actually separate from one another. It's often seen in this way. It's often, especially in the manifestation space, as I said, approached with mind first, but truly you can't really separate the two. They impact one another. Your thoughts impact how you feel. Your feelings impact your thoughts, right? Like you might have a feeling and you make it mean something in your mind about why you have this feeling and what that means about you or your reality or your circumstances or another person. And the other way around, when you have a thought, that might generate a specific feeling in your body. And so it's this loop. One influences the other, so we need to take a really holistic approach to the manifestation process. And there are a lot of manifestation approaches that work with the thought and the mind first. The idea is sort of, if I change my thought, then I can change or adjust the feelings in my body after that, and that will create a change in my state. A good example for this sort of approach is Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. His work works a lot with meditation, and you kind of start with the mind and then you create the feeling in your body. Now, this approach is not necessarily wrong, but it takes a lot of effort in my experience, and it's just a very mind-based approach, which doesn't work for people whose systems just operate differently. And my system operates differently. I can use meditations as a complementary technique, just like other techniques that I may be using, but it's not actually what creates the deep changes within me. It's more for maintenance or the occasional experience where it deepens the state that I already have. But I did this, I used to use only meditation, and I would come up against a wall over and over again because I wasn't really diving deeper into my beliefs. I was kind of inadvertently bypassing them because I was trying to imprint something new. And I was also unable to truly incorporate the body, and I couldn't force my body to feel certain things just through my command. And there's a lot that goes into why that wasn't working for me. And if you've been trying this approach and it's not been working for you, at least not consistently or sustainably, or it's taking a lot of effort for you and you've not really shifted into the state that you want to live from, you still come up against beliefs, you still see reflections in your reality that don't align with what you want, maybe then it's also not working for you. But I had to start the other way around. Your state of being doesn't happen in the mind. That's a state of mind. It's not a state of being. It's literally in the name. It's not a state of thinking. It's not a state of mind. Your state of being refers to the state of consciousness that currently inhabits your body, your physical body. So why not incorporate the physical body from the beginning? It also refers to your embodiment, literally. And the word body is already in the word embodiment, right? It's what you embody. It's how you live, how you breathe, how you are being. It's not just how you are thinking, and it's also not just how you are feeling. And if you are not in your body whilst you are consciously manifesting, you are really missing a key part. When you change your physical state first, and of course, there's more nuance to this because it depends on where you're starting from. It depends on your current state of being. It depends on your current identity. It depends on what works for you. There is no one size fits all, which is why I use such a holistic approach and such a comprehensive approach, because some things will be working wonderfully for you and other things won't, and that is okay. But as a general rule, what I see in the majority of people is when they work on their physical state first, it is much easier afterwards to change the mental state. And from there, it's much easier then to feel into new states of being again and again. So there are 3 ways I want to share with you that you can use your body as a tool. Number 1 refers to the emotions that you might be presently holding on to. We all tend to have emotions that are stuck in our body. Emotions need to flow through you. So if you haven't felt certain emotions because you've maybe suppressed them, because you've been told that you shouldn't feel them, either directly or indirectly, those emotions were never expressed, and if they were never expressed, they don't go anywhere. They stay within you, they stay in your system, they stay in your body. And when that is your current state, when you have emotions or trauma that you're holding on to, then you can think all the right things, but you still won't experience a change in your state of being and ultimately not in your reality, because your body is fighting the very thoughts you are wishing to believe. That is why affirmations don't work for so many people, because if you try to affirm something that feels completely untrue to your body will resist it. So we need to start the other way around, and we need to work with integrating the emotions that you're holding on to. Integrating the emotions, that does not just mean that you're becoming aware of them. You can become aware of the old story. You can become aware of circumstances and thoughts and belief systems that you have inside of you that you don't want to have or experience anymore. You can even attempt to change your perception and offer different perspectives, and that's going to help. That is definitely going to help, but it can lead to a lot of micromanaging. It can lead to you constantly trying to convince yourself or constantly having to remind yourself. And also sometimes it might not work at all if your body is still holding on to that old story internally, somatically, through your experience, through your felt experience. Then your thoughts and your perceptions can change, but your body might not accept these changes. The second piece is the importance of actually creating a connection with your body. A lot of people are very, very disconnected from their body. That can sometimes be because of a trauma response. That can sometimes be because it wasn't safe to stay connected to your body. It wasn't safe to feel all of the feelings that are inside. But when you're disconnected from your body, not only are you unable to integrate these emotions, as I said earlier, and you have these stuck emotions in your system that you're not even able to access or feel, you are also disconnected from your intuition. You are also not able to follow the little nudges that will show you what you have to do. And that's when you can get into a lot of self-doubt. And the way a lot of people try to solve that self-doubt is by changing their perception or thinking something different. And that can change things on the surface, but not on a deep level, because internally you still have this disconnection to your body, and therefore you're disconnected to your intuition. If you flip that, if you create a connection with your body and you create a connection with your intuition, you're not questioning anymore. You're not wondering, am I doing the right thing? You're not wondering, is this my true desire? You are so much more embodied in who you truly are, and you are so much more clear on what steps to take, and you have so much more trust in yourself and in the process automatically. And the third point is your body is a tool for you to feel into new reality. So it's a tool for manifestation rather than a barrier. For example, I am a very visual person, but my visualizations actually don't happen in the mind. They happen through a felt experience in my embodied state. Now, I have some tools that I teach for that to kind of guide you through a process of how you can get to that state. And it also happens through what I mentioned earlier. That is a very intentional process that I use for myself and that I use with my clients, which ultimately that foundation will make it a lot easier for you to feel into a different state, to feel into a different reality, and to therefore make it manifest with a lot more ease as well. The key message that I really want you to take away from this video is that you cannot think yourself into a new state of being. If you try to think yourself into a new state of being, you will create subtle changes, but the deep embodied changes, that moment where it feels automatic, where you just are a different version of yourself, where you don't even have to try anymore, where you just feel differently as a default, that does not happen through thinking. That happens through being. And for that, you need to incorporate your body. Please leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts about this video, your key takeaways, and maybe let me know what your connection is to your body. I'm sending you so much love, and I see you in next week's video.